I'm going to get a bit plug-in-y. Well, these plugins I really like. They're by Slate Digital, and the reason I like them is because they're quick. You notice there's a pattern happening here, but I like to be able to get ideas down quickly. So what I've done is put it on. It's a console emulation. The Brit N seems to bring extra low end to things, and I'm putting more low shelf in. I felt like the kick wasn't weighty enough, so I've used 3 low end boosts there. Right, so I've got my kick. Right, that's creepy minimal snare. So, yeah, the reason I have these all bounced, like I say, is so that you can. My idea is definitely today did not involve anything to do with a snare. My idea involves like a groove pattern. Right, the bass is all pushed a little bit too loud compared to the drums. So what I can do, because I have my template set up, I can turn the drums up. I can turn the drum mix up. Right, now what I'm looking at here, don't worry about what number it says, and don't ask people what number to put your bass. Just make sure you got headroom and make sure they're roughly level. Right, I've got 5 dB of headroom to work in, so, and I've got a kick that punches there, right? And like I said, we could have done an hour masterclass on making a kick, but I definitely wouldn't want to listen to that. Right, it's basic at the moment, but the pattern is there. Now what I'm going to look at is some breaks or some percussion, right? Somewhere around here, I made this is a break beat that I love by the Headhunters called God Made Me Funky. Right, at this point, I do want to show you a little bit about doing the drums, right? I'm going to load that in and I'm going to chop it and make it all seem like a real piece of music in a minute. But that is an old classic break by the Headhunters called God Made Me Funky. Oh. And what I've got to show you just is very briefly drum processing. I made a few screenshots to show you like the process. I've found the original tempo in Logic, so the break was probably like 110 or 105 or 90 or whatever. Chopped it into all of its component parts like that, so each bit is a slice. So this is also really boring to watch someone doing, so I decided not to do it as a real demo. You chop it into each component, very careful to get the start points right, look. So it's important detail, and that one isn't on the line. So it's not quite as clear on here, but the line is there. So you need to make sure everything's precise. But you don't have to do this with old funk breaks. I teach people to do this with sample pack breaks all the time, right? Everyone says, oh, you shouldn't use sample packs. But if you've got really good quality samples, right? A best example of this, you guys had a talk from Emperor a little while ago. And the samples that he made a few years ago, sample pack is amazing. So I'll take one of his loops, chop it into the parts and remake the pattern, right? And then you're just being smart. It's not cheating. Breaks pack is really good. DLR always makes really good samples, man. He's so deep in the engineering that when Jay does a sample, any sample that he uses is like as good as anything in his tunes. So I'd recommend anything that he does. Yeah, he has his sample company lab samples. But what I've got on here, and just to go through the processing, what I've then done is taken this loop and EQ'd it, layered it, so you've got a layer for the kick, a layer for the snare, put a little bit of reverb on the snare, bounced it so I had loads of layers of it, right? So all the stuff that would like be, well, not fun. That's me on the train practicing, making sure everything worked. So to get to this God Made Me Funky break, I've done all the processing beforehand. For one thing, it's not very fun for you guys to watch. To be honest, it's not that fun to do it. I don't wake up in the morning and think, I can't wait to chop some breaks. But I love breaks in my music, so you do have to do it. You just have to do it maybe on a different day, different time. So what I've got is a... Right, so for some reason that little sub refuses to mute. Hang on, I don't want to sub just for a minute. Right, and I'm going to still re-chop my break because it doesn't quite fit what I've done here. So there's a shortcut where you can chop it into like eighths or sixteenths. So now I've chopped it into all the parts. Right, I can rearrange the pattern. Actually, I want that one to be there. I don't want a second kick because that's not what my pattern does. It's going to be quite simple in this occasion because I'm just going to chop out the extra kick that I put in. Then I'm going to double it up and make it into a 4-bar loop, and I'll probably re-edit it again, but the point being is I'm not just bringing these pre-made loops to show you guys and save time in the demonstration. This is how I save time writing music and manage to stay inspired, because I really love this God Made Me Funky break. It's on an old tune by Ed Rush and Optical called Bacteria. That's one of my favourite tunes ever. I don't want to chop it up every time I want to use it in a tune. That would just be really counterproductive, right? But what I do want is to have my own version of it ready to go. What I can do is chop the fill out of it. So I can go into the old one. Oh, where does it go there? Wow, really laggy. I'm just going to chop this little fill from the original one because I really like it. So I can maybe put it in somewhere else. But yeah, well, I started doing this sort of chopping and bouncing drums like a really, really long time ago. I mean, like 10 years or something. I was realised when I was at uni like you guys, I was like, I don't want to chop up drums every time I do music, but I really want to use old drums because that's what I like. I mean, don't get me wrong, if you're into more minimal sounds, don't go looking for funk breaks to chop up. Chop up sample packs that are really clean. Make your own patterns. Make your own snares that you've taken sample packs and exported it and refitted it to suit what you want. But take the time to do it. Do pre-production, and then when you go to write music, it is just much more fun again. So that's not going to be in the right place. Sometimes when you're saying about making the stretching, like adding the bits, I'm going to do that just purely so I've got a 2-bar thing that I can understand a bit more. So I've got the fill that will go at the end there. So now I've got the Headhunters copying my kick and snare. Right, you notice my head started nodding then for the first time. If your head's not nodding, then you're not doing it right. But when you're doing pads and stuff like that, it's not particularly, you know, it's not creating the same inspiration. I've got a Camel Fat effects set up on this group already because I realised a long time ago I like using it on drums. So, and I've just turned up the distortion a bit, more push. Right, now I need to check that these are working properly together. By that I mean just check that it looks good in the analyzer, basically. Make sure that, well, I'm clipping the drums channel, so I'm a bit carried away. What I want to make sure is that the kick from the break isn't, yeah, it's not making the other kick go weird and phasey. Right, now what I'm going to do is add in a few extra layers of drums. I'm actually ahead on my timing. I'm having to be really disciplined, to be honest. Like, I could have spent an hour and a half doing floaty pads, but I could have spent an hour and a half doing the bass. I'm not showing you this stuff to be like shortcut and skip everything and don't give a crap about what you put in your tunes, but just learn to be able to do things a bit quicker so you can keep being inspired. That snare is going to cut through 100%, so I'm just going to add it in. I've got a bus called Snare Pop that is like already pushed. I don't want to do that. I just want it to be clean. The snares are already going into bus number 3, which means that they're going to their parallel. I need to just route them to the snare bus. All that means is that, oh, that's a bit hard. Right, so the snares are going into one channel, a bus together. At the moment it's got a compressor on there. I use the Logic compressor like to clip things really, but if just as a quick bit of compression tips, if you set your attack really short and then set it a crazy amount, we can hear what the compressor's doing. The attack time is when it starts working. With it on 0, it's compressing everything straight away. If I bring the attack up a little bit, that's what 15 milliseconds sounds like. 50 milliseconds. So I can hear the transient, and then what it's doing is not compressing that first bit. That's what an attack time means. What I like about the Logic compressor though is after not compressing that bit, you can use some built-in distortion and clip it, and I can make my snare louder. Right, so we're getting to the point where it's hurting our ears. Good. We're making drum and bass. Except that snare is insanely loud now. Need to get the break up a bit louder. I've got some distortion, overdrive, pushing it. Right, and it's swinging as well because of the way I put the kicks, but also because I've used an old break. I want to get some extra hi-hats in, so it's a classic like pitter-patter hi-hat. The bit that I won't get to show you guys today is how you would develop the arrangement over time, okay? Because I'm not going to have a, you know, we'd have to stay for another hour to sketch out an idea for a tune. What I'll do is get all these hi-hats in and use them at later points. So you save that one and you bring it in after 16 bars. Maybe a nice open hat, and again I've got some ready to go somewhere. But that one is just really plain, and it will help the intro a lot as well. So that's the sort of thing that you would have running through the start of a tune. I'm normalizing everything and turning it down. I mean, that's slightly counterproductive, but what I'm doing is just making them as loud as they can go, then getting the right volume. Now we have a conversation between the two open hi-hats. We have an open hi-hat on the 1, and then we have an open hi-hat that it swings into here. So we've got that little conversation going. Willem's pack is really good as well, some really good sounds in there. In this instance, it's not the right pattern. That's going to be too busy, but you see like they've got loads of old breaks ready to go. What I want is just more hats. I want a really fast one. So yeah, so I've got some like hats that are on 16s already. Oh, I know it's there. Oh, there it is, it's hiding. So this one I bounced 16 bars of air for some reason. Right, so this is like a hat on 16s. Right, now it's suddenly starting to sound like an exciting tune. Okay, so the drums are well too loud now. Because I've got them all going to the drum mix, I can turn them all down together. If I wanted to use a compressor, it's on drum mix. I know I'm sort of skimming over some of this routing, but what's happened here is all of the drums are going to a bus, either kick or snare or hi-hats, and all of these buses are all then sent further down directly into this drum mix, which means that if I mute that, this is parallel compression, right? And what it means is I can have the drums really pushed, like a crazy amount if I want, and then mix it back in. So I can, so if I push the break into it a bit more, we'll get like a really overly over-pushed one. I've also got Transient Designer enveloping it really tight. If you want your music to sound fast, cut the gaps out in the middle. The gaps in between things, if you get everything really tight, it sounds faster. So now I've got right, drums, see the snare is just crazy loud. It's louder than everything in the tune. But that's easy, I can just go to my snare group and turn them all down together. So So just what I was talking about with the drums, that fast hi-hat, this is a real honest tip. Never put your fast hi-hat in first, because when you take it out, everything sounds rubbish. Right, look. Oh, it's all slow and boring now. So don't put it in at the start. Save it for 16 bars or 32 bars.